There's no time limit on an accident. An accident can just continue, and this is important to remember. So normal rules of not normal operations don't apply. Rainwater and groundwater has been flowing into the reactor complex from nearby mountains, and the water becomes highly contaminated with radionuclides. It picks up from flowing through the reactor at 100 to 1,200 meters cubed per day. To give you a sense, 100 meters cubed is 100,000 liters. And that's how much additional water, the burden that TEPCO has to deal with. It's mostly around 180 meters cubed per day. At the high end, the 1,200 meters cubed per day that happens sometimes when there's particularly rainy times, that's 1/2 the size of an Olympic swimming pool. So TEPCO has a very difficult challenge to deal with and manage so much water, and has decided to place them into tanks to manage this. In 2016, TEPCO admitted, with many of us suspected, that the water is also not stopped by the much hyped ice wall, again in 2018, 2020, and 2022. And TEPCO has no plan to completely stop the flow of groundwater itself. Instead, it continues to deal with the problem by putting contaminated water in tanks. The contaminated water, that's the main focus here, is a particularly serious issue because Japan and TEPCO has decided to start disposing, as we discussed, of the contaminated water as soon as the summer. And so, according to TEPCO, there are currently over 1,066 tanks holding contaminated water. To visualize how much water this is, it's the equivalent in total volume of a cube of 110 meters on each side. That's a gigantic cube of water, almost 1,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And the water in the tanks is highly contaminated. Water is treated to remove the 62 different radionuclides using a system known as ALPS, or multi-nuclide removal facility. But in 2014, TEPCO stated that ALPS will reduce strontium to non-detectable levels, which will reduce the risk of leakage and protect the safety of workers. That's a quote from them. But then in August 2018, Kyoto News revealed, not TEPCO, that the ALPS system was not working properly. Kyoto News revealed that the water was still highly contaminated in the tanks. TEPCO later admitted that about 66% of the treated water needs to be treated again because the water still has a high background concentration of radionuclides. And we're not just talking about tritium, other isotopes. And recently, TEPCO has also backtracked on the criterion for release and now states that the goal is to reduce levels below regulatory limits rather than being non-detectable.